Some things are just meant to stay in their time period, especially when modern sensibilities change. I don't know what people's perception would be today about a movie involving a blind person and a deaf person teaming up to clear their names over a murder they didn't commit. I guess it really depends if the movie makes mockeries of these people or not. To me, it doesn't seem like it. For the most part, the characters aren't meant to be portrayed as imbeciles, and everyone around them who treats them like dirt gets exactly what they deserve. But at the same time, I don't know, I guess I could see people being offended at this. It doesn't seem like it's bad taste, but it's also not very politically correct. I don't know. I guess you'd have to watch it to decide for yourself and to see if the script contains as many offensive moments as you think there would be. With all that out of the way, let's talk about See No Evil, Hear No Evil, and let's see if this movie's even worth bringing up all that other stuff.
It stars Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder, one of the 4 movies they did together, along with Silver Streak, Stir Crazy, and Another You. I'm not quite sure what everyone's ranking of these movies are, and honestly, this is the only one of the bunch that I've personally seen, but I don't think anyone really considers See No Evil, Hear No Evil to be the best one. But I think it's still considered to be pretty funny. Isn't that all you need to judge a comedy anyway? Sometimes, and in that regard, it has its moments, but I certainly wouldn't consider it one of the greats. And both actors have separately been involved in better projects, but you can't deny the chemistry these two have. Gene Wilder has a humble, downbeat approach to comedy, saving his over-the-top screams for the perfect moments, and Richard Pryor's delivery turns potentially unfunny lines into the best parts. I've never heard of an actor who can say the F-bomb as good or funny as Pryor does. As far as the actual performances involving disabilities go, I'd say it isn't too believable, as if it's meant to be anyway. You can tell it's an idea that was made in the committee that the writers attempted to run with, but it seems like there's only so many jokes you can make out of it. The moment the characters are in a car chase is pretty great, and the interrogation scene seems to be the basis for making this movie idea a reality. If there's people who are offended, I guess I can understand why, and I'd love to hear a real deep dive into the potential stereotypes and bad taste jokes, but to me, it feels like Dory in Finding Nemo. It's funny, but I don't think it's meant to harm those who have disabilities, and if anything, they're the heroes who are the only ones with a good sense of morality. But I'm not going to be defending it too much. It doesn't even deserve it because, besides a couple chuckles, it's pretty forgettable. This man gets murdered after he attempts to hide an expensive gold coin from the bad guys, but in the end, it's not really a gold coin anyway. It's just a MacGuffin to keep things moving along, but that doesn't really make for an engaging story. The villains are pretty lame, which includes Kevin Spacey in one of his earliest roles. Seeing him in a movie produced on film stock that looks straight out of the early 80s is pretty weird. It was released in 1989, and if it weren't for Spacey, I'd think this movie would have been from a decade before. It feels outdated in both humor and tone, but even at the time, I guess audiences felt that way too. The moments that are really offensive involve all the random acts of sexual harassment. I wouldn't say it causes it to be unwatchable, but when they have the blind guy purposely feeling up a woman when she's screaming at him to stop, or Gene Wilder breaking into a hotel room and kissing a naked woman, I don't know, it feels weird and out of place. I guess this was meant to be edgy humor with attempts to give it sex appeal, but it just comes across as childish and wrong. The only reason to watch this is for the two main actors. I love watching them work off of each other, and Gene Wilder always warms my heart. If you're looking for the opportunity to see an obscure but funny comedy from the 80s, this isn't gonna be it. It's only for those wanting to see everything from these two actors.
It's not completely horrendous, but it doesn't really warrant a second viewing. It's neither a cheesy bad film or an underrated funny comedy. Is it gonna be my least favorite film from this month's Patreon list? Well, let's just say there's another season coming up and I'm not very open to it.
Thanks to Lucas for this Patreon request, and thanks to all my Patreon supporters. For only $7, you can get your own monthly movie review. Ask me to review anything I haven't already. There's also other perks like blogs, exclusive videos, and early access. You can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And thanks so much for watching this video.